Hi guys, it's read aloud time. Let's get cozy. If I can get to my spot. You can't see me. Tilt that a little bit. Still not good. There we go. I'm chilly. Come on. All right. Chapter 3 was from Parker Elias's perspective today. So let me get to it. I love the sound the pickup truck makes when the motor roars to life. It's even cooler now with that little muffler problem. But that'll only last until Mom and Dad save up the money to get it fixed. Even without the extra noise, though, it's still awesome. I look down at the starter button. Negan Rat's Pots, it says. I don't know what that is. That's what I saw the first time anyway. Now I know that it really says engine start stops. So I'm thinking he must have some like dyslexia where the letters get mixed up when he's reading. That's what reading is for me. I see all the letters, but they're kind of a mishmash. Like my class at school, which is SCS 8, although it looks like SS8C or S8CS or even CS8S. It messes me up at first a little until I figure out where I have to go. And then it doesn't matter what order the letters and numbers are in. The pickup jounces over the packed dirt of the driveway before bumping onto the paved road where our property ends. Our farm is right outside town, so I haven't gone very far when a police car pulls up beside me. Come on, bud. Come join us. He wants to be here for read aloud. Uh-oh, I wonder why a police car is pulling him over. The cop gives me a thorough once-over with his eyes. I'm used to it. I'm kind of small for my age, so I look like a 12-year-old out for a joyride. I thought that new girl's eyes would pop out of her head when I jumped down from the pickup on the first day of school. Stop. Stop. Or maybe that's the expression she always gives everybody who knocks her book bag halfway to the moon. I would give her that look too. Let's set the record straight. I'm 14. They don't let you drive any younger than that. So no matter what your special situation is. It's okay though. The police around here all know me. The cop rolls down his window and peers into the flatbed of the pickup, taking note of several bushel baskets of fresh tomatoes. You're just taking those over to the farmer's market, right, Parker? He calls. Right, officer. And straight to school after that. I shake my head. First I have to pick up my Grams. The cop frowns. Grams? My grandmother, I explain. I have to take her to the senior center, then school. That's why I have a driver's license in 8th grade. It's a provisional license, although to me, it usually looks more like Rival Snoopville Iceland's, because all the letters get mixed up. I'm allowed to drive the pickup, so long as it's for a farm business or for Grams, who's pretty old, and sometimes kind of confused, no offense. My folks both work crazy hours on the farm, so I'm the only one free to pick her up at her apartment and take her to the center, where she hangs out all day. Then I drive to school, and after school I pick her up and take her back to our house for dinner. She doesn't live with us, though. She refuses to give up her own place. My independence, she calls it. The law says I can do all this because running a farm is considered a hardship. It's a long chapter. That's pretty stupid because we actually prefer living outside the city and having tons of open space when everybody else is stuck on a little postage stamp of grass. Plus, we don't have livestock, so we don't have to do any of the really gross farm things like sticking your arm up the butt of a sick cow. I've seen that on a TV hard pass. I drop off the tomato at the market. Tomatoes. Watching the clock impatiently while Mr. Sardo weighs everything to the millionth of an ounce. Then straight to Grams. She's waiting for me in the lobby of her apartment building, but she's wearing a winter coat and it's like 80 degrees outside. So I have to park and we go upstairs, put away the coat, and by the time I return from the closet, she's in the kitchen warming up leftover meatloaf for me. But Grams, I'm going to be late for school. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, kiddo. I used to like it when she called me kiddo, but now I'm pretty sure it's because she can't remember my name. It bums me out. To be fair, she called me kiddo before she forgot my name. The difference is now it's the only thing she calls me. I already had breakfast, I tell her. You want mashed potatoes with that? She asks. It won't take long. No thanks, this is fine. Obviously, I eat the meatloaf. It's actually pretty good. Grams can still cook, even though she's forgotten most other things. She's been knitting me a sweater for the past 3 years that she can't seem to finish. I've gotten a lot bigger in that time, but it's okay because so has the sweater. It's draped over the back of the couch, a mass of dropped stitches, hanging strands, and random colors. It looks like a giant psychedelic wool amoeba. I gulp down the food as fast as I can, but it throws off my schedule. By the time I drop Grams at the senior center, I can already hear the bell ringing at school. With my grandmother, there's always something to slow you down. If it isn't meatloaf, then she's buttoning her blouse wrong, or wearing her slippers instead of her shoes, or just waiting for Grandpa to come home even though he died a long time ago. That's sad. I'm used to being late. Grams is worth it. Oh, I like how he has a good connection with his grandma. But it's my 4th time already, and it's only the first week of school. I barrel around the streets, busting the speed limit by a lot. I'm blowing at least one stop sign. I screech into the school parking lot, leaving a small mark on the side of Mr. Sarkashian's BMW. Not good. Carefully, I back out and find another spot, this one the opposite side of the lot. I pull my trusty can of Scratch Guard out of the glove compartment and rub the evidence off my front bumper. So that's probably not the first time he's done that. Then I work on the beamer a little. Not perfect, but it should keep Mr. S from noticing the damage long enough for him to have absolutely no idea where it might have come from. This is usually the part where my day starts to go downhill. I love getting to school, the driving and all that, but once I'm here, not so much. There's no problem with the building, and the teachers are okay, I guess. It just happens to be a place where I'm bad at everything, and that's considered important. I'm bad at everything that's considered important. It's a long walk to room 117. I take it slow because who wants to rush somewhere you hate? I'm already late though, so I open the door and walk inside. Kind of getting the feeling he probably hates school. It started out with him mixing up the letters, so I'm starting to think he probably hates school because it's real hard for him, and he doesn't feel like he's good at it, so he's not liking it so much. Some people might be able to connect with that feeling, where you feel like, I'm not good enough, so I hate it. Before I know it, my feet slide out from under me, and wham, I'm flat on my back on the floor. It gets a big laugh and scattered applause from the 6 kids who are already there. The only person who doesn't react is our teacher, Mr. Kermit. He never lifts his face from the New York Times crossword puzzle, except occasionally to take a sip from the humongous coffee cup he has. And that's not just today. He's like that all the time. Yesterday, when Barnstorm chucked one of his crutches and shattered the globe, the teacher didn't so much as flinch. Not even when the Horn of Africa bounced off the side of his head. You could probably set off an atomic bomb on his desk and he'd never notice. And we remember why from his last chapter, right? I scramble up. But when I turn back to the doorway to see what's tripped me, I go down again, on my face this time. I can smell the floor and taste it a little. There's butter all over it. Who greased the floor? I howl. The kids laugh louder, enough to penetrate the cone of silence and capture Mr. Kermit's attention. He glances up, sees me flopping like a fish out of water, and quickly goes back to his puzzle. He's not very helpful, is he? If he's not the worst teacher in the world, he's definitely bottom 5. Most embarrassing of all, Kiana has to rescue me. She's the girl whose backpack I hit with the truck. So right there I'm thinking about character traits, and I see some real good ones in Kiana, even though she gets real frustrated with this boy. She's still going out of her way to help him. My shoes are still a little slippery, but at least I can walk to my desk. Kiana turns to the rest of the class. Who did that? Again, speaking of her character traits, she is not somebody who stands by. She's not a bystander just watching. She's standing up for him. And she's not afraid to address the class. So I see some bravery. And she's the new kid. So that's some real bravery right there to stick your neck out for somebody when you don't know anybody in the school. Raheem, who's fast asleep, lifts his head off the desk and looks around and like a deer in the headlights. Did what? Let it go, I murmur, red-faced. Why should you? She demands. Somebody buttered the doorway. Mr. Kermit's not going to stand for that. An absent-minded comes from the direction of the teacher's desk. Shh! I drag my broken body into my chair. Who's the mystery prankster who almost put me in intensive care? Plenty of possibilities in this class. Barnstorm, the injured sports star. He gets away with everything. At least he did until they put him in SCS 8. Aldo, the jerk who flies off the handle every time the wind blows. Elaine? I sneak a look over my shoulder at the scariest girl in 8th grade. Oh, please don't let it be her. Elaine rhymes with pain. Ooh. So sounds like some interesting characters in this class. I'll probably never find out who buttered the floor. If it was Elaine, I don't want to know. When I glance up, Mr. Kermit is standing in front of me. At first, I'm flattered that he's come to make sure I don't have a concussion. But no. He places a worksheet on my desk and wordlessly returns to his crossword puzzle. That's what we do in the special self-contained 8th grade class. At the beginning of each period, Mr. Kermit hands us each a worksheet. No one does them. At least that's how it was at the beginning. There were a lot of paper airplanes sailing around the room for the first few days. I figured Mr. Kermit would get mad, but he never made a peep about them. So the airplanes stopped. What was the point of making them if you couldn't get a rise out of the teacher? Eventually, it got so boring that the only possible thing to do was the worksheet. It's kind of hard for me, though, because the letters get all jumbled up. Even if it's math, they never just ask what's 5 plus 3. They have to make it into a story about 5 brown rabbits and 3 white rabbits having a rabbit fight. That's where I get lost. I'm hunched over my paper, trying to make heads or tails of what seems to be unbreakable code. When at the desk beside me, Kiana sets down her pen and peers at my paper, which is untouched as the minute I got it. You haven't started yet? She hisses. Sure I have, I reply defensively. She isn't sold. What question are you on? 1, I shoot back. Take it slow, okay? I return to work, staring at the letters, willing them to arrange themselves into a form that makes sense to me. I guess I look like a scientist peering into a microscope because she blurts out, You can't read? Yes, I can, I say defensively. I'm just pacing myself. She reaches over and plants a finger on question 1. What does that say? Again, thinking about character traits. Now I'm thinking, yes, brave and standing up for him, but also a little nosy here, digging into what he's doing instead of what she's doing. There's no talking in class, I tell her. You want to get us in trouble? Mr. Kermit takes a long, loud slurp of his giant coffee. Read it, she orders, and I don't. It's not that I can't, but it would take time. I don't feel like it, I mumble. Parker, she urges, this is stupid. You can get help with this. You just have to tell the teacher. But nobody can help you if they don't know there's a problem. Smart girl, ask for help. Sometimes it's not easy. My eyes find Mr. Kermit. His attention never wavers from his crossword puzzle, even though Raheem and Barnstorm are sword fighting with rulers, and Aldo leaves the room altogether. If I have to depend on Mr. Kermit for help, I'm going to be older than he is before I get any. Sounds true. Next chapter is from this Aldo guy that we just learned about. And we're introduced to Aldo. He says, Aldo, the jerk who flies off the handle every time the wind blows. So he's maybe temperamental. We'll find out tomorrow. Stay tuned.